What up, fam? I'm gonna try this again. I've been trying to make recordings and videos and go live for probably about 2 weeks, and my phone just been tripping. It ain't been working, so I'm just going live with it. It's unannounced, but I need to get it out there. So, paying to live, paying to live. We as a society, we as humanity, we're paying to live, and it makes no sense because everything that we have, everything that we have in this world, in this um, paradigm, the way it's set up, is meant to be free. It's not meant for us to have to pay for survival. And so I've been trying to make this video for a minute, and it just ain't been working. It ain't been working, but it's all good. It's all good. I'm gonna set up another live and announce it so that the family can come through and we can all connect again. But the karmic loop is ending. It has ended. That karmic loop has ended, and we only go back into that karmic loop if we decide to. And so it's imperative right now that we understand that we have to make the choices and decisions that will dictate the rest of our lives, right? And I just know for certain that everything has been slanted and pushed to a point where we are making decisions based on what we've been given, right? What's up, Bobby? How you doing? How you doing? Merging Timelines, how you doing? I see y'all just popped up. What's up, y'all? Man, I missed y'all so much. And it's just time to get back on it. It's time to get back on it because we have now ended um, we have had a paradigm shift in our timelines now. And everything that is happening now is to distract us from that, which I know y'all already know. Y'all feel it because y'all fam. So I know y'all already know. But paying to live, paying to live is ridiculous for us now. And once we as a collective understand and overstand that we no longer have to pay to live. All of this belonged to us in the beginning. And now we have to come back into this knowledge of knowing that if we're going to be sovereign, if we're going to be sovereign um, individuals, we're going to be sovereign souls, we're going to have to understand that we're not supposed to pay to live. Like, for example, water. We literally pay for water. And water is one of the most freest things there is. It literally rains. But you know what they do? They poison the water so that we cannot just go collect it, so that we can have it. In some states, in here in America, in some states, collecting rainwater is illegal. That's crazy. That's crazy. They poison the rivers, poison the lakes, poison all of the fresh water sources. So you have to go to them. And so even with food, before I move away from that, even with food, I remember, I think I was, gosh, I had to be like maybe 19, 20 a minute ago, right? But I had to be like 19, 20. And I just remember hearing the food or the devil's in the details, and the food is the devil. In other words, the food was the energy that was distracting us, that was pushing us away from our sovereignty, from unlocking our light codes, from being able to upgrade our DNA. And most people don't understand this, how far humanity has fallen. Most people just, they will never understand until they fully wake up how far humanity has fallen. And so the fall of man is still continuing. We're still falling. We haven't hit the bottom yet. Why? Because humanity isn't wiped out. I'm gonna say that again. We haven't hit the bottom yet because humanity, we're still falling because humanity hasn't been wiped out yet. There's a plan, a plot to literally take us out. But we're so engrossed in trying to survive that we don't see what's happening. And what brought this on was a discussion I was having with a couple of brothers, and it was just amazing. We were talking about how hunting, fishing, things like that. I grew up in Louisiana, hunting, fishing, running through the woods, just being free, or what I thought was free. But now you have to ask permission to even do those things. To go fishing, you need a fishing license. You have to ask permission to be able to um, water, right? Permission. Everything is by permission. May I do this? May I have this? Why? Because humanity is still enslaved. We're still not free. We haven't come into our sovereignty yet. So a lot of people speak on sovereignty, becoming sovereign individuals. And Bobby, that's right. This is why we need our tribe. This is why we need our communities. Because we're not supposed to have to pay for these things. We're not supposed to be struggling to have electricity when electricity is free. Like seriously. Hey Denise, how you doing? It's these things are free. Like fruit growing on a tree. It's free for anybody who wants it. Water running through a stream is free for whoever needs a drink. But in the society we live in, that is not free. It's not free. It comes at a price. And as I previously mentioned, if you go and you try to collect rainwater, in some states it's illegal. If you dare to go drink water out of a stream, it's probably heavily poisoned with all kind of toxic metals and chemicals. Why? Because your sovereignty is important. Your time being controlled is important. So therefore, we have been duped, we have been tricked into thinking that we need government. We need the governing of our mental to be able to survive. And that's just not true. But when the collective comes together and we start to truly desire our sovereignty again, these things will be no more. And that karmic loop is ending. The karmic loop of having our souls drained, of having our souls put on the cross and used to run this whole matrix, it's over. But collectively, we have to come into this understanding and come together and start to say no more. So, as Bobby said, he said, our tribe and our communities are going to become very, very important. It's no longer a joke, y'all. It's no longer a joke. I mean, looking at things, the prices of things rise. And as I was mentioning, me and my brothers were talking, we were just, laughing, talking about when we were kids and how things were so cheap and now things are so expensive. And that's because they're turning up the pressure because this world, this paradigm, right? The karmic expression that was running everything is over. We no longer have to live by that anymore. So what does that look like? What does that look like? And peace to you, Samantha. How you doing? How you doing? Man, I'm glad to see y'all pulling up, man. This is awesome because I missed y'all so much. I missed y'all so much. But coming back into wholeness, y'all. Coming back into wholeness is going to take some work. It's going to take some work. We've done the inner work. We've done the inner work. And now we're going to have to start doing the outer work. We're on mission now. We're on mission. And some of our missions is to go back into the battlefield and start showing how ludicrous it is to literally live by their rules anymore. It's time for the revote, right? I had a dream the other night, and it's crazy. It was I was in line, and this is the last time I ever voted, y'all. That I ever voted. I'm just gonna be transparent here. It's the last time I ever voted. And vote is a vote, like VOLT, right? You're giving energy to those candidates. You're giving your energy, your time. And so I was standing in line, and I remembered a couple of gentlemen talking, and I think it was what was it, the Barack Obama um, election, right? And at that time in this country, if you were white and you didn't vote for him, you were racist. If you were black and you didn't vote, you were dumb and stupid. It was just crazy, right? But the point was that in this dream, I saw myself giving away energy. That when I pushed that button, to vote for my candidate that I thought was going to change things before I fully woke up, I didn't. I saw my energy leave my body, and I gave a vote. I gave a charge of energy to that entity. So in the dream, I was calling back my energy and calling back my soul power. And when I did that, I woke up, and I mean, I had so much energy within my body. I mean, it was like boom. And I woke up and I had so much energy in my body, and I was amazed. I was like, wow. I mean, I knew it, but I didn't understand that that energy needed to be brought back. I need to call that back to myself. So I tell all y'all right now, if start calling that energy back, that where you've given your power away willingly, where you've willingly made verbal contracts to give your power to certain people because they're leaders, or you want them to lead you, right? That is a verbal contract where we're giving our power away, right? and and we have to stop defending it. You're right, Bobby. I love that. Exactly where I was going, bro. Exactly. Our people, our collective, we are, some of us are still trying to defend it, saying that we can live by these rules, we can live under someone's thumb. But you're not understanding, you can't even leave your country without permission. I'm gonna say that again. You can't leave your land and go to another land without permission. You can't do a lot of things. Why? Because humanity is still enslaved. Enslaved mentally. Mentally. Because so many of us are used to having our mental the stability, our mental strength. We're used to having it governed by others. And so we have to start taking that back. And so, like Bobby said, and I love this. Our people keep trying to hold the system up by defending it. We don't know life without it. Going into the unknown, trusting the process. Exactly. And that's what we have to do. I don't know what it's going to look like. You may not know what it's going to look like. But I know we'll step into sovereignty and freedom, just like the other lands that exist around us. Most people can't fathom that there are lands that exist around this land, that the known lands. There are unknown lands to us. And a lot of us, our DNA and lineage is from those lands. Like being here in this country, in what was known as Tartaria, right? A lot of us are not from this land, this landmass. We're not. And we're trying to make things that don't make sense make sense. We're trying to fit into paradigms that were never made for us to fit into, because our DNA, our lineage is calling us home. It's calling us back to where we originally come from. And so if you're going through um, karmic loops right now, or if you previously went through karmic loops and you've worked on them, it's because this is the timeline that shifts everything, that ends everything, that takes us back to the original format, the original blueprint, where we're able to start activating these things again. And so, like for example, cloning, manipulating DNA through injections, because I can't say the other word because they'll take my video down, right? Um, but but through vaccinations, through these injections and stuff, you know, locking our DNA up from birth, scanning us, shooting us with all these microwaves, everything that we are going through right now is literally to put you in a state where you can't remember. And if you do remember, what you gonna do about it? They've kept us so separated by the lies, by the hypocrisy, by giving us money, dollar bills, right, to run after, instead of running after our collective soul energy, the things that really matter. So the sidetrack that they put us on is real, because we've been sidetracked, right? We've been pushed out of our original course. So a lot of us came here for this work. We came here for this work, to get this work right now. So as we stand up, as we wake up to a higher level of consciousness, because we're conscious, we're awake, we are, but there's a higher calling. We are going higher in frequency. And as we go higher in frequency, as you go higher, you can see more, right? So the higher, like say for example, if you're walking on in a city, you can only see so far. But then say we get in a helicopter and we go higher, you can see more. You go higher, you see more. As we are going higher in our frequency, in the frequency that we're able to hold in our temples, as we go higher and elevate, we're able to see more and more of the broken pieces of the puzzle that need to be put back together. And this is one of the biggest pieces: survival. They're putting us in fight or flight. And I know most of y'all are familiar with that. We're either in fight or flight. But when are we ever going to be in stability? When does humanity get to a point where we are stable enough to start making the decisions to ungovern ourselves, to kick those people out? Because the people have the power, the people have the energy, right? Humanity is the holder of the energy that runs this place. So from poisonous water, poisonous food, poisonous relationships, everything is toxic. It's either toxic to our body or toxic to our souls. So we've been here doing this work, getting rid of this toxicity, ending these loops and these cycles that are draining us and pulling us away from our best version of self, right? These toxic relationships. Just like, for example, I was helping a brother out in his twin flame relationship. And as I told him, I said, if your spark of divinity has been lit within, that flame within you, the flame codes within your DNA, if they have been lit, and you're on fire with that frequency, your match is going to match that. In other words, your frequencies will be the same. It may not be, um, um, where you guys do the same thing and look the same. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying your frequency, you have to have the frequency match. And so, as he was saying, I'm vegetarian. She eats meat, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Please, everybody is what he is, so ain't no judgment from me. But as he was saying that, I said, if that bothers you inside, you're not a frequency match. Stop trying to make things make sense that don't make sense. It's crazy. But we're living in a world of duality where we've been taught that's the way it goes, and that's not the way it goes. Our life is not meant to be a constant or in a constant state of flux. It's not meant to be in a constant state of stress, of worry, of doubt. Those are the frequencies of the world that are bombarding us. And we are meant to be the light that shines in the darkness, that shows that there's a better way. But when are we going to answer that call and actually start living by that thought, creating the paradigm that we want, right? Be the change you want to see. So we have this inert energy within us, right, Bobby? We do. We have to start using our magic to create for real. We do. I'm telling you, we're living so far below the poverty line. And when I say poverty line, I don't mean financial. I mean energetically. We're so poor energetically as a collective, it's ridiculous. As a collective, and I'll give you an example, as a collective, what have we changed? What have we changed? What part of the this paradigm have we changed as a collective? See, a lot of people talk about it, but they ain't being about it. A lot of people can get on social media platforms and they can say, hey, this is what we got to do. We need to be strong together. Okay, that's cool. But at some point, it has to go from just being a creative idea or creative expressions to becoming physical, to becoming real. And I'm not saying that we're going to wipe the whole grid out, in like 1 year. That ain't what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that we have to start tribing up and get into communities, and not through voting, not through voting. That's not what I'm saying, but through conscious thought, through conscious actions. We have to start acting and using our new characters to effectively change our environment. We have to, because we have children, we have souls coming in that are meant to be builders, and they have no material to build with. The souls that came in the 70s and 80s, they were meant to be rebels. They were meant to destroy. They were meant to come in and tear down all of these old structures that were keeping souls trapped. And a lot of us got wiped out. We got pushed into other objectives, into other what we thought was life. We got pushed into these, like I said before, sidetracked. We got pushed onto these other roads of existence instead of being where we're at. And yes, we were tricked, we were duped, we were vaccinated, we were our minds were screwed with when we went to through public education. All of that is true. But for those of us that still have breath in our body, it's still time to start and complete the mission. The indigos, that's right. That's right. Now, these souls that are coming in are builders. They're looking to build. Like I've taught school before. I've been in public schools. I've seen it. And these children today are diff, man. They're different. They don't play by the same rules that we do. So I hear a lot of adults saying, these kids today, the whole world's going to hell in a handbasket. These kids will never be able to do what we do. They're not supposed to do what we did. They're not. They didn't come here for that. They came here to build new paradigms. And so, where are the leaders? Where are the ones that we're supposed to be destroying? That were supposed to be tearing everything down so they could come in and build. This is what I'm saying. Through intimidation, through fear, through food, through water manipulation, through spraying the skies, we have been smooth out of the path that we came to walk. But it's okay. It's okay because we still here. Right? Exactly. Exactly. Higher vibrational systems. That's it. That's it, Bobby. That's it. We are here to heal. I love that. I love that. We are here to heal, not to teach. They don't need to be taught, but they do need to be healed. But we can't heal them until we heal ourselves. So, like I said, I was talking to some brothers and we were just kicking around. I was like, man, this is so deep. Like, I got to share this with the fam. This is so deep that a lot of the collective have lost their path. And through these false ascension paradigms, this false ascension matrix that is real, because there was one point I was on it. I thought I was ascending. I thought I was getting where I needed to get. And I realized that, hey, I'm on the wrong path. This is not the way to do it. And it resonates within. For those that this resonate within, hey, let it vibrate. Let it change your frequency. Let it upgrade your thought processes. And for those of you who you're on your path, hey, that's what I'm talking about. More power to you. But until we all come together and work together as a body, the Christ light within us, right? The crystal energy within us that we have, that's supposed to be vibrating, that we're supposed to be getting rid of these, exposing these soul traps, getting the lockdown codes out of our body. It's like, even I think I told the story one time, but my daughter asked me. She said, Dad, why are there no more unicorns? I remember a time when there were unicorns, and I went, wow. I said, baby, they all been wiped out. I said, but we can remake them. It's not illegal. Like, there's nothing holding us back from genetically turning our codes back on. Nothing. It's like there are some of us that are meant to do that. We're meant to be geneticists. We're meant to understand the science. And then we're meant to manipulate the hijack. We're meant to go and rewrite the wrongs, rewrite the codes that reactivate us. Could you imagine that? We had a team of conscious geneticists that are reactivating the codes that were turned off because that is what is supposed to be happening. But we've made each other the enemy. We've made skin colors the enemy. We've made, if you got straight hair, curly hair, the enemy. We've made, going to party, like all these insignificant things. I could just keep going. Y'all know what I'm saying. But things that are so insignificant, we've made priority. And we made each other the enemy instead of building the higher vibrational systems that Bobby's talking about. Instead of seeing what we want and then becoming it. So it's like, even like I was talking to my daughter, about the unicorn. I said, baby, if you want to make unicorns, go become a geneticist. Go study it. Learn how to activate certain codes because the DNA chain is locked. The DNA chain has been manipulated. I mean, heck, right now they're talking about putting vaccinations in food, in lettuce, in vegetables, actually putting, like, this is crazy to me. This is crazy to me. They're literally talking about putting gene manipulating substances in vegetables. So if that's the case, how do you survive? See what I mean? They're putting us in fight and flight. But when we stand up as a collective and we say no more, when we start growing our own food and we start literally on purpose living according to nature, they can no longer control and manipulate us. They people stand up and they start trying to lead, and they get gunned down, they get unalived, all that kind of stuff. Man, I'm at the point where it's like whatever. I'm telling you, I'm at the point where I'm like whatever. I'm answering the call of my soul. That's why I changed the name of the channel to Humanity's Call. Who's gonna answer the call to stand up and be a voice for humanity, for us, for mankind? Because like I said, I have literally seen the path for us to leave this enclosure that we're in. Because there was a time before the dome, before the firmament. I'm telling you. And it's like we have a path to leave, but we can't until we accomplish a certain amount. And this is part of what they're doing. This is why they're locking us down. That's why they're locking us down, yo. Because once we understand that going through the pillars of Hercules in the ice wall, we get to the other lands. We get to our homelands. But a lot of us don't understand. I'm telling you, it's diabolical. That's right, Sunny Days. That's right. It's diabolical. The things that they have done to manipulate the minds of humanity, especially the soul carriers. You guys that have these souls, mm, you're so important, and they know that. So they keep you in the rat race. What's up, Christy? Great to see you too. Missed you guys. But they keep us in this rat race. And like I explained before, there's two timelines. There's the papal timeline, the papacy, paper, the Pope, right? That we're on. And it was splitting to go back to the original, to the natural timeline, the one with 13 months, not 12. How many weeks in a year? 50, what did they say? 52? 52 weeks in a solar cycle called a year, but they tell you it's 12 months and there's 4 weeks in a month, right? So what does that mean? 4 times 12 is what? 48? Where are the other 4 weeks? Where are the other 4 weeks? This just shows you how much time is manipulated and how much our minds have been manipulated. Because any one of us will look and go 52 weeks, that's 13 months. 48 weeks is 12 months, according to their math. So the math ain't mathing, is it? Where's our other month? Oh, they wrap it up in their holy days called holidays, but it's really pronounced holy days. So they've taken that divine feminine energy and they've twisted and used it to manipulate you because what mama says goes. So if they're telling you this is what mama says, in other words, this is the natural state of femininity in this world, it's based on this time scale, then we've been manipulated. We're listening to a false mother, not the real mother. It goes deep, y'all. It goes deep. Yes, Sunny Days, I'm back. We're gonna start doing this. We're gonna start getting live again, or I'm sorry, doing lives again. Um, I just had to go through a whole healing crisis. I really did, where I had to shut everything down because spirit was showing me a different path, that it was time to now take my energy and start using it a different way. So I had to let a lot of things die off. I had to have a whole nother death rebirth cycle, right? Towers falling, and then going through because see, I put it this way, I'm a Scorpio moon, right? Leo sun, Scorpio moon, Virgo rising. And so my emotions, everything, I went through a whole scorpionic death, which most Scorpios do, right? And not that those energies define us, but it's energy for us to overcome and live through, right? It's karmic expressions and karmic cycles. But going through the 13th sign, Ophiuchus, of the Ophiuchian energy, the snake bearer, what does that mean? What have they taken away? They've taken away our transition and our process through the energy of bearing our soul energy, or bearing the kundalini energy, the life force energy. That's what the snake bearer is. You are bearing your energy, or you're holding it. You're using it. It's like a light. It's the flame inside of you that is burning bright. So they've taken away that 13th month. I feel you, Bobby. 13 degrees. Yes, sir. That sun. Love it. And that is such a sacred position. 13. And so when we understand there was 13 disciples, not 12, because the Christ said, hey, I'm a disciple too. So it's 13, not 12. But I digress a little bit, but that just goes to show how much we've been manipulated with time on this paper timeline, this papacy timeline, where everything has been manipulated, everything has been used against us, words have been changed, sacred texts have been destroyed. Genetic manipulation is at the forefront, at the forefront of politics, government, the world systems. It's all there. So when those of us start to wake up and understand where we're at, man, codes start to turn back on, energy start to flow. But when we get back into understanding how to genetically go back in and remodify ourselves back to what we used to be, that's when it's going to pop off. That's when we're going to see huge change around the world, because that's a reality, yo. That's a reality. And like I was saying before, I know I'm skipping around a little bit, but I'm just happy to see you guys, and I get a little sidetracked when I say hi. But um, like I said, I saw the way out, and we're going to leave. We're going to leave this prison, this little landmass that we're locked into right now. We're going to, and I always tell people, do yourself a favor and go research Admiral Byrd. Really, truly understand what this man said before they unalived him. When he said, "There's more land that has not even been seen by humans." Well, he didn't understand it had been seen by our ancestors. That's why a lot of us don't understand we're not from here. We're not even, um, um, you can say that we are indigenous to certain lands. Absolutely. Because when those lands were uncovered or discovered by certain people, there were people already there. So, yes, there are indigenous. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that's not your original start place. Some of your DNA comes from on the other side of oceans and seas that you've never been in, that you've never heard about. I should say that's better, that you've never heard about. And once you step foot on that land, you're going to be healed. You're going to be connected to ancestors. Like it's amazing. And I get to soul travel there. I get to soul travel there. I get to actually visualize it, see it. I've been shown it, and we are going to do it. But it started with us recollecting our soul energy back. It culminated in us raising our frequency, to raising our standards, to getting rid of these old relationships and these old toxic things that are poisoning our temple and our souls. And most won't even be able to cross the frequency barrier because there's a frequency barrier there. And most will not even be able to cross it because either their body's too toxic or their mind's too toxic. And that's sad. That's why many are called, but few are chosen. Because there'll be few that'll be able to actually cross. But the more, and when I say few, I don't mean like 100 or something. No, I mean there'll be thousands upon thousands. But I'm saying compared to how many souls are in this world right now, because we're being lied to and we're on these false ascension timelines where we think we're doing the work, but we're not. We're not. So, like I said, guys, it's time for us now to start effectively living out who we say we are. When I thought I was a Christian, well, I didn't think I was a Christian. I knew I was a Christian. I was in I had to go to what is it called? I can't even think of the name of it right now. Seminary. I was going to be a pastor. I was connected with churches that were on TBN, right? One of the biggest Christian networks ever. And there were people that already selected, oh man, you're going to be a pastor, you're going to be a preacher, we're going to get you on TV, all that stuff. That was what was planned for my life by some of the people that I trusted, right? And so I was connected with those people. I've met those people, TD Jakes, Paul Crouch, all of these. I have met these people. I have played music in these churches where these people are about to minister. So when I say to you, there's a diabolical plot. When I say to you that they fully understand what they're teaching and why they're teaching it. When I say this to you, I speak from experience. I speak from what I have seen and heard. It's about money. And at the higher levels, it's about keeping humanity locked in, locked up, and dumbed down. And so my first experience in seminary, hey, what's up, lady Spellbreaker? Hey, there's a point where We as a collective now have to start understanding this, that there's a plot. Like, I mean, consciously working from the standpoint that there is a plot, a plan and a plot that has been put in place to take us out. And if we don't start to understand that we're at a proverbial war, we're in a proverbial war for our souls. Even Joe Biden said this in the last election. We at war for the souls of America. What the hell? I heard him say that. I said, what the hell did he just say? I had to rewind it 2 or 3 times. Saying we're in a war for the souls of America. For the soul of America, not the souls, for the soul of America. They understand. We don't. So, like I said, when I had to go back and I had to die again, I had to go through that death to be resurrected. I've seen so much that just don't make. I don't know. It's good, just so bad. Um, Till we start to understand that, y'all, we're always gonna be working from behind the 8 ball. Instead of being at the forefront, we're working from behind. We are the change that this world's been waiting on. We are it. But I love you guys, man. I'm gonna hop off. I gotta take care of a little business. Um, but we're gonna do this again. We're gonna really start getting interactive because I really want us to start building our community. I really want us to start tribing up and becoming the versions of ourselves that we know we are. We know who we are, but are we living in that expression? Are we living according to the paradigm we know that we're meant to exist in? So real, so real. But anyway, I love you guys. I love you guys. I love you. I love you. I love you guys. All right. Live in harmony and bliss, y'all. And I will post when we're going live again so we can really, so I can sit down and really, we can really talk, we can dialogue, and we can start to build. We can start to build. All right.